Ooh. Why is I guess I'll just sit up straight. Have posture. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot second. I told you I had an issue with staying consistent and on top of things. But I decided to show up today and I'm going to do a book haul. I've broken it up into, I guess, 3 categories. And I'll start with the first one, which is the book of the month picks. So I have 3 book of the months from September. Which reminds me, I gotta go pick out my book of the month from October now too. But for my September picks, I picked out 3 books. If you don't know, Book of the Month is a book subscription service that costs this much. And their gimmick is they offer 5 new brand releases. You can pick up to 3 books. You can just do 1, you can do 2, you can do up to 3. And they also have a back catalog that you can also pick from as well. These are all brand new books that they were offering that I picked up. I didn't pick anything from the catalog and I got 3. Normally I only get 1, but I've skipped a couple of months and I thought all these just looked really good and they speak to different areas of my reading likes. So the first one is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. It's a thriller, which speaks to my likes of thriller. And it's based around like a serial podcast kind of setting. So the main character is a podcaster, has a very successful true crime podcast, and she is working on season 3, which is about the rape of the sheriff's granddaughter by a popular high school athlete. And also the podcaster, the main character's sister, drowned years ago, so she's trying to solve that, and it was ruled as suicide, but now somebody's telling her it was a murder. So yeah, I don't know, I haven't picked this up yet. I think I'm going to pick it up pretty soon, simply because I'm really intrigued by the gimmick. So there. The second one I got is The Unraveling of Casey Holmes. So this is this appeals to my historical fiction love. It's about a girl group, pop group from like the early 2000s, and the main character, they were a quartet, I believe. And the 4th member of the group commits suicide, and it's basically kind of told from multiple perspectives of the rise and fall of the girl group. This one's a little bit thicker. Well, the font's really big, actually. The font's kind of huge, actually. Maybe just because my contacts are just having a good day, but like, look how big that font is. Maybe it's just normal font. I don't know. The font looks really big though. But I probably won't get to this one anytime soon. But if you want me to read this sooner rather than later, comment down below. And then, I'm not the biggest fan of sci-fi stuff, but I want to be. So I picked up this one, The Space Between Us by Micah Johnson. And basically the gimmick here is that the main character is a participant in a study of parallel dimensions, and you can't go to another dimension where you are still alive. So basically, I live in parallel dimension A. I can't go to dimension B if there's also Michelle that is alive there. Does that make sense? But the main character, her personalities are really good at dying, so it really says that in the summary. we'll see when I get around to this one. I'm not too sure, but I have read another parallel dimension book. It's the other parallel dimension book that I read and I liked was A Thousand Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I have the other 2 books in this series. I just haven't gotten to them yet, but I really like this. So based off liking this, I'm hoping I'll like this. And that was it for my book of the month. Next category I'll call trying to learn how to be a better ally. So basically, like a lot of white people, I decided to pick up a lot of books on racism and on privilege. Barnes and Noble, I still shop at Barnes and Noble. I'm a gold card member. I walked in and they had like, why is I guess I'll just sit up straight. That posture. Barnes and Noble still had a table dedicated to books on talking about race and stuff like that. So I went wild and I bought several of them. So the first one I have here is White Fragility. Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism by Robin DiAngelo. I should say right now, I really don't know much about what these books are. I've just picked them up because I saw a lot of people talking about them. So let's read the back of this. What is white fragility? In this groundbreaking and timely book, anti-racist educator Robin DiAngelo definitely illuminates the phenomenon of white fragility, referring to the defensive moves that white people make when challenged racially. White fragility is characterized by emotions such as anger, fear, and guilt, and by behaviors including argumentation and silence. These behaviors in turn function to reinstate white racial equilibrium and prevent any meaningful cross-racial dialogue. In this in-depth examination, DiAngelo explores how white fragility develops, how it protects racial inequality, and what we can do to engage more constructively. So it's a toss-up between this one and the next one on which one I will read first. The next one is So You Want to Talk About Race by, I don't know how to say that, Juma Olu. Probably butchered that. I apologize. I should have looked it up before I got on here. Okay, so when I looked it up, and I was kind of close, I think, Jimioma Oluo is how they pronounced it on an interview I saw with her. Anyways, so the back of this one, widespread reporting on aspect of white supremacy, from police brutality to mass incarceration of Black Americans, has put a media spotlight on racism in our society. Still, it is a difficult subject to talk about. How do you tell your roommate his jokes are racist? Why did your sister-in-law take umbrage when you asked to touch her hair? And how do you make it right? How do you explain white privilege to your white privileged friend? And so you want to talk about race. Imagina Oluo guides readers of all races through subjects ranging from intersectionality and affirmative action to model minorities in an attempt to make the seemingly impossible possible. Honest conversations about race and racism and how they affect almost every aspect of American life. So, I think my therapist told me this was written by a white woman, and she recommended I start with this one first. But I've asked somebody else, and they said that they've heard good things about this one and that this is a good intro. So we'll see. And then the other 2 books I got on race. The third is Biased, Uncovering the Hidden Presidents That Shapes What We See, Think, and Do by Jennifer L. Eberhardt. PhD. And this one is, how do we talk about bias? How do we address racial disparity and inequalities? What role do our institutions play in creating, maintaining, and magnifying these inequalities? What role do we play? With a perspective that is at once scientific, investigative, and informed by personal experience, Dr. Eberhardt offers us the language and courage we need to face one of the biggest and most troubling issues of our time. She exposes racial bias at all levels of society and in our neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, and criminal justice system. Yet she also offers us tools to address it. Eberhardt, see, I mispronounce everybody's name. Shows us how we can be vulnerable to bias but not doomed to live under its grip. Racial bias is a problem that we all have a role to play in solving. Oh, Trevor Noah said, a fascinating new book. Well, if Trevor Noah says so, I'm here for it. And then the last book on race I got was How to Be an Anti-Racist by Abraham X. Kendi. And then this one is, oh, so this the book was blurred by 2 out of the 3 other authors of these things. What a circle. This one is anti-racism is a transformative concept that reorients and re-energizes the conversation around racism, but even more fundamentally points us towards liberating new ways of thinking about ourselves and each other. At its core, racism is a powerful system that creates false hierarchies of human value. Its warped logic extends beyond race, from the way we regard people of different ethnicities or skin colors to the way we treat people of different sexes, gender identities, and body types. Racism intersects with class and culture and geography, and even changes the way we see and value ourselves. In How to Be an Anti-Racist, Kendi takes readers through a winding circle of anti-racist ideas, from those basic concepts to visionary possibilities that will help readers see all forms of racism clearly, understand their poisonous consequences, and work to oppose them in our system and in ourselves. So, sounds pretty interesting. And then the last series of books that fit in that is I picked up the March graphic novel, book 1, 2, and 3 by the late representative and civil rights activist John Lewis. I've known about these books for quite a while. He famously went to Comic-Con and cosplayed as himself back during the civil rights era, and I've been making excuses for why I haven't picked them up, and now seems like a better time than ever. So these I probably will actually get to sooner. Well, at least the first one I'll get to sooner because they go by so fast. But again, I'm excited. So yeah, book 1, book 2, book 3. And the last category is just kind of miscellaneous books I picked up. Most of these I got at Barnes & Noble. One of them I just picked up randomly online. So the one I picked up randomly online is Secret Sisters by Joy Calloway. This is historical fiction. It's about the beginnings of a sorority on college. So I was in a sorority in college. I was in Delta Zeta, so picking a green, go Turtles. And I picked it up kind of basically because of that. So excited to get into that. The next book I picked up because of a book club I was in, and then I didn't read the book in time, but I still will read it because it's historical fiction. It's When We Left Cuba by Chanel Clifton. And this is basically about, what is this about? It's about a Cuban refugee that was recruited by the CIA to infiltrate Fidel Castro's inner circle. So yeah, like I said, I'll still read it because I like historical fiction. And then I picked up I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. And I think, what is this about? I saw another book trope. Actually, I saw Allie from the Hardback Hoarder pick this up from like a book subscription service, and I thought it sounded really interesting. Why did I think it sounded really interesting? Let's read it together. When Anna arrives at the small Hamptons village of Heron Mills for a summer nanny gig, she has high hopes for a fresh start. What she finds instead is a community on edge after the disappearance of Zoe Spanos, a local girl who has been missing since New Year's Eve. Anna bears an eerie resemblance to Zoe, and her mere presence in town stirs up still raw feelings about the unsolved case. As Anna delves far deeper into the mystery, stepping further and further into Zoe's life, she becomes increasingly convinced that she and Zoe are connected and that she knows what happened on New Year's. 2 months later, Zoe's body is found in a nearby lake, and Anna is charged with manslaughter. But Anna's confession is riddled with holes, and Martina Green, teen host of the Missing Zoe podcast, isn't satisfied. Did Anna really kill Zoe? And if not, did Martina's podcast uncover the truth? So, another podcast. I'm excited. Little thriller. I like YA thrillers, even though I find them to be kind of silly and a little illogical, because I'm always like, where are these people's parents? Where are the parents during these books? I don't know. Second to last book, Axios Edge by Lindsay Ellis. If you don't know, Lindsay Ellis is a YouTuber. She does video essays and stuff like that. I've followed her for I feel like a decade at this point. And this is her first novel. It's sci-fi about an alien invasion, I believe. Yeah, so I'm excited. And then last book, and the one I'm currently reading right as we speak, not as right as we speak, because as we speak, I probably might have actually been done with this. I might actually finish this tonight. So maybe, yeah, right as we speak. But I'm on video speaking right now to future you. This is the book I'm currently actively reading. Untrumping America by Dan Pfeiffer. Dan Pfeiffer, if you don't know, is one of the co-hosts of Pod Save America, and basically this is his plan on how to untrump America. A plan to make America a democracy again. And it's really interesting so far. He breaks it up into 3 parts. How we got here, how to win the presidency, and what to do after the Democratic nominee wins. If you don't know, I'm a Democrat. I voted for Biden. I think I have worn my Warren. I campaigned for Elizabeth Warren back in the primary. I've worn that shirt in one of my videos already. So I find this very useful. The only thing is that this was written before COVID, so he still makes references to the economy and how this was written before we even had Joe Biden as our candidate. So he still makes references to how the Democratic primary candidate. He makes references to how the Democratic candidate is going to be having an uphill battle because whoever has the good economy has an edge. And I mean, it's different now. We don't have a good economy in America anyways. And you can go to 538.com and see what the Electoral College looks like it's probably going to do. So it does feel a little out of step because it was written before 2020 fell apart, but it still has good action plans. And I think just knowing what happened in 2020 only makes you feel more hopeful that we can take back the White House and the Senate, and keep the House and actually enact some of the things that he does recommend. So that was my book haul, my recent book haul. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more books, I guess. Stay tuned for reviews on these books.